This
Yeah,
conference will now be recorded.
I can see a few names. Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, I will straight away start the session. I will see later part. If you don't mind, guys, please drop your mail IDs in the chat box. Personally to me, not to others. Okay. Privately to me. Please drop your mail IDs quickly. So that going forward, I will take that into my database. Going forward, all the documents, everything will be shared to that mails. Okay, to that mail IDs. Okay. Please quickly share your mail IDs here. I'm expecting from all. Then I will share my screen. First 2 days it will be like just like this only. Quickly share, guys. Ratnakar, you have 3 friends, right? Who can I know the names? Ratnakar and
Suresh Ganji
Suresh Ganji. Okay.
and Krishna.
Krishna, right? Okay. That's an, I mean, display name is Balakrishna, same person, right? I have only received 8 names, 8 mail IDs. What about others? Can you please share?
Hi Sujit, a very good morning. This is Ram.
Hey, hi Ram. Hi.
Yeah.
No, still not started. I think. I mean, just taking the mail IDs from everyone.
Yeah. Today is my first class.
Yeah,
Reference
today is
by
the first.
Mahesh.
Yeah, today is the
Okay.
first session. Still not started.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Reference by Mahesh.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Can you please share your mail ID
Share or I can. Okay.
in the chat box?
I will text on the mail. Okay, fine.
Sujit, Krishna is our friend actually. Balakrishna, we are not aware.
Okay. Then can I know the Krishna's mail ID?
Yeah, I will ask him to ping you.
Yeah, please. Is he joined now? Is he there?
Yeah, he joined.
Krishna, can you please share your mail ID here?
I Sujit, are you received my mail ID?
Oh, what is that mail ID? Others, right?
Yeah, Reddy Rama.
Reddy Rama, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. I log in as an Reddy Ram.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Hi Sujit, this is Raju.
Hi Raju.
Yeah, I shared my mail ID.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I'm just displaying that mail IDs here. Can you please check whether anyone mail ID is missing? Please let me know. Quickly have a look and please let me know. 14 only I received.
Yes, hi Sujit, I sent my email ID.
Okay, I got it. I think it's a Purnima, right?
Yeah, correct.
My mail ID is not there.
Raju, you are
I Raju 2807.
one second. It's taking time to copy paste. I Raju, right?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, thank you.
I got it. Any other missing guys? How many joined as of now? Mahesh, are you there?
Hello. Sweet.
Yeah, Mahesh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got all the mail IDs who are attended here. Just give me a minute. Okay, I will start the session. Meanwhile, how many of you are aware? I mean, hope I am just starting this session because I hope everyone saw my demo video because I told some prerequisites in that course, like what is a JSON, what is an XML, the basic stuff I required, and what are web services, right? So
Yes.
hope everyone are aware of web services at least in this session, by this session. Is anyone name here Srikanth? Give me a minute, guys. Okay, let me start. So how many of you are aware of web services? Web services. Quickly, I want the sessions to be an interactive sessions. Without interaction, we cannot move forward, right? It may, I mean, I may stop the session also. I want everyone to interact. Please interact. What are web services? So no one is aware of web services here.
No.
Yes, please go ahead. Okay. See, this is very one of the, if you are into the integration background, definitely you need to aware of what are web services, definitely, right? In my demo session also, I referred one channel, YouTube channel, just to have a basic idea of what are web services, right? So let me start with, I mean, just I'm giving an outline, okay? So that any layman can also understand, right? There is an application A, okay? Or else, I mean, I'll just give a simple example to understand what is a web service. There is an application A and application B, right? Now, before coming to these applications, there are two people who knows, one person knows Spanish and one person knows Tamil. Example, right? If they want to communicate with each other, how they will communicate? Yes, how they will communicate with each other?
Through translator.
do we need to have some translator in between, right? Or else what is an idea? Another idea. They need to know some universal language like English. Yes, these are the two options if they want to communicate with each other, right? Same logic apply here. This application A is written by using a Java language. This application B is written by using some third generation language like .NET, some other, right? Guys, one more thing I am telling you. I don't know about your background here. Whatever the background you are, I'm going to start from, my Mule course from the scratch. Okay. In a process, you may feel that some terminology is different, which you might not be aware. Okay. Don't get panicked. Okay. Going forward, you will be understanding all the scenarios, all the terminologies. You need to habitate yourself to the terminologies, because if you are aiming, you need to, you are going to work on that mule, right? So definitely you need to understand the terminologies. We are going to explain about that. One minute, guys. Sorry, one of the vendor called me. Yeah. So where I stop? Yeah, the terminologies, what I'm going to tell or what I'm going to use, you can browse after the session, but those are helpful, right? But don't get panicked in the starting stage itself. I know I can see many people by seeing the first session and the terminologies what I'm using, they'll come to know that I can't do. No, there is no fear such fear. You can work on that. You have to do that, right? If you are into the integration platform, this is not related to Mule. This is related to integration platform, right? Okay, let me come back to the session. This third part, this B application is written or implementation is done by using some third party, some third generation language like .NET, right? Two different languages. If application A want to integrate with application B and want to consume the operations present in it, how they will communicate? How they will communicate? There should be some universal language which can be understandable by any application, right? So whatever the application, the B application, whatever the services present in it, it should describe about the services by using one web service, right? By using a web service, right? Any data can be exchanged over the internet, right? That is nothing but your web service. There are two types of web services. What are those? Yeah, what are the types of web services? You can describe about your application by using two web services. What are those?
SOAP and REST.
Very good. So I see. If you are aware of SOAP and REST, that means that you are aware of web services also. No, not given answer in the starting, right? So SOAP and REST. Simple object access protocol. Abbreviations. There are multiple abbreviations, but abbreviations doesn't matter. You need to understand the concept. Representation state transfer. What I mean by that? That we need to understand, right? These are the two type of web services. What is the standard format of SOAP? Either input or output. What is the standard format for SOAP?
XML.
XML. Very good. Is there any standard for REST? Official standard format?
WSDL.
No.
That is for the description. Description about your application. It's a WSDL for SOAP.
Yeah, no standard format.
That is not. That too. It is for SOAP, not for REST. For REST, we have a RAML to describe. Okay, I'm talking about input and output formats.
There's no restriction on the format.
No restriction. So maximum of the times, human readable language. What is that? What is the format?
JSON.
JSON. Right. So that's why I asked. Web service integration is also one type of integration, which that is the number one. Out of multiple integrations, a web service integration is the highly used percentage. So that's why I asked to aware of XML and to be aware of JSON, right? That is the basic stuff we require in if you are into the integration platform, not only into the Mule, any integration platform, you require some basic knowledge on XML and JSON. Not only integration, again, XML is for what? XML is for entire, many applications are having the XML as a format, right? This is the universal formats. That's fine, right? So this is the basic definition of a web service: to integrate between the applications, to exchange the data between the application over an internet. So multiple definitions are there, but you need to understand the concept, right? Web service is nothing but we call that as an API, application program interface. This application want to integrate with application B. How? Until unless this application B is expose the services by using some web service. Description means what? Creating an API, right? I'm not talking about API as of now. It may lead to confusion. As of now, try to understand it's a web service, right? I'm getting some background noise. I'm getting some my sound itself to me. Okay, thank you. Someone has muted. That's fine. Today we are going to discuss about what are the point-to-point integration and what is an ESB and how an ESB helps in solving of point-to-point integration, problems of point-to-point integration, right? Idea behind an ESB. Basically, we'll try to understand what is an ESB today. What is an ESB? Actually, the full form of ESB.
Enterprise Service Bus.
Enterprise means organization. Service means we need to create some service. And bus, what is that? First we will see. Okay. Let me explain with a scenario. Let me explain with a use case. Okay. Now assume that there is one application. Assume that is an Amazon application, right? And which is having some operations like get all products, get product by name. The implementations may be written on Java, or the code may be written on Java. Okay, assume. Now, from my client application, I want to consume get all products method present in the Amazon application. As I said, if two applications want to speak with each other, whatever the application you are going to consume, that application should expose via some web service. Assume that this application is exposed as a SOAP as a web service. That means SOAP is a service provider. Okay, service provider, and it is using HTTP as a protocol. Can you please tell me, SOAP is a protocol dependent or protocol independent? SOAP is a protocol dependent or independent?
It's dependent.
No. SOAP is a protocol independent. We should use only HTTP. Why can't you use messaging? You can use the messaging also. I'm getting some echo sound. See, I'm able to listen my voice only. Thank you, someone again. Right? So SOAP over HTTP protocol. Right? Now, HTTP protocol means what? We need to know what is the endpoint for this application, get all products. So where I will get that endpoint? What is my idea? I want to consume, that means from the client application, I want to consume this get all products, right? Now, any application is deployed on some server, one file will, and especially it's a SOAP, if it is deployed on some server, one file will get generated. What is that file? Yes. Which describe about your SOAP application? Just now someone told.
WSDL.
WSDL file.
What is the WSDL file? Web service description language. Description means what? It is going to describe about your SOAP application in this WSDL file. What this WSDL file contains? Port number, port name, what are the operations present in it, all the definitions, get all products, get product by name, all the definitions. Based on the code generated here, that means based on the definitions generated here, I want to, from the client application, I want to consume these operations. See, whenever you are integrating whenever you are integrating with any other application, we need to look for two things: whether it is loosely coupled or logically coupled. What I mean by loose coupling? What I mean by loose coupling? Suppose here you can see the implementation is right now it is written on Java. Assume that they have changed the implementation to some third generation language, right? Do I need to change the code at my client application level? Is it required? Is it required? No, because based on the definitions generated in the WSDL, I am consuming the application, not based on the implementation. If they change the implementation also, I don't want to change the code at my client level. So it is called a loose coupling. It is a loose coupling, right? Then what is a logical coupling? First I will tell the definition, then we'll talk about that. As a client, I don't want to know who is a service provider. From the service provider perspective, I don't want to know who is a client. Then only we can achieve a logical coupling, right? Who is a service provider here? SOAP is a service provider, right? Now, how can I achieve that logical coupling? How can I satisfy the definition? Let me explain with the same scenario. Instead of HTTP protocol, this time I will use messaging protocol. That means like JMS messaging. This is a SOAP application. SOAP over messaging. Okay. Our idea is what? From my client application, I want to consume. Right. So whenever I get a request to the client application, one message will be created. What is the structure of a message? Any message contains what?
It has a header, footer, and a body.
Header, body. I will talk about footer later. Header and a body. Right. Now, when I'm sending a request and I'm consuming the SOAP application, I will wrap up that body into the SOAP network. Right. Now, I will keep this message. I'm getting some background noise. I think some Mamshi, I think so. I will keep that message into some queue. Which queue? Assume that I'm using some third-party message broker. Can you please name some third-party message brokers? Yeah, message brokers. Any message broker?
AMQ.
You mean ActiveMQ?
Yes.
Next, Q, RabbitMQ, AnyPointMQ. Many are there. Assume that right now I'm using an ActiveMQ. Okay, that is a third-party message broker, right? Now I kept the message in the. I sent the message into that queue, right? Now my third-party application, that means service provider, will pull onto this queue and will read this message, execute some logic, and will respond back. Where it is going to respond? In which queue it is going to respond? Did I mention any queue to respond back? No, right? So while sending a message itself, under the header, we need to send. There is a header called reply to header. Under the header, there is a reply to header. You can mention any queue name. Whether it is existing or not existing, you can simply send one queue name. For example, I'm sending RESPQ. Okay. Now, while sending a message itself, the request contains the header with a response queue. My third-party application will respond with that header. My broker will understand that if already existing, any queue is existing with that name, it's okay. Otherwise, it will create a new queue with that name, RESPQ, and it will send that message into that, right? It will send it. Then my client application will pull onto this queue and they will consume. Now, did I satisfy the definition from the client? Do I know who is the service provider who is consuming, that means who is reading this message? No. From the service provider perspective, who sent this message into the queue? Do I know? No, I don't know. Someone has sent the message, I'm reading that message and I'm executing the logic and sending back to some third-party message broker. So I use some third-party message broker in order to achieve a logical coupling, but there is a problem. It's an overhead to my project. That means a third-party message broker is it's an overhead to my project. Without using a message broker, I want to achieve a logical coupling. So let me improvise my idea without using a message broker. So from my client application, from here onwards, please concentrate. From my client application, I want to consume a SOAP application, right? I'm getting some request. Previously, I wrapped that message into some SOAP envelope, some SOAP related message. Now, every request will having some message, right? This time, assume this is my own message format, the proprietary message format. So every message will contains header and a body, right? That message, I will keep it into some internal memory queues. See, in enterprise terminology, what these internal memory queues are called as? Any idea? Internal memory queues are called as what? Channel, right? From now onwards, if I refer as a channel, please understand that is an internal memory queue, right? Now, I will configure one more component. I will call this as an adapter, right? Adapter contains a logic, right? Assume that it's a different logic. I mean, what is the logic? I will tell you later. Adapter, which contains some logic. What type of logic? Which can read this plain request, whatever the message I'm getting. Assume that it's a HTTP request, which can read this plain HTTP message and convert into SOAP related message, because I want to consume a SOAP application. So now, can I call this as a SOAP adapter? What this adapter knows? How to read the plain message, convert into SOAP related message, right? SOAP adapter, right? After 6 months, if they change from SOAP service provider, the third party application change from SOAP service provider to REST service provider. So then, do I need to change the entire logic at my client application? Not required. What I need to change? I need to change only the adapter. Simple. REST, make it to REST adapter, right? So what additionally I introduced two things here, two components. One is internal memory queue and one is component. Okay, what is that component? We'll discuss that later, right? So tell me, as a developer, web developer, you will be thinking about integration logic or any business logic. I'm talking about a web developer. Business logic or like such integration logic. Yeah. As a web developer, always you will be thinking about a business logic only, right? Why you will write such? See, I have just used one component to integrate. There are n number of requirements, n number of integration logic. If you write that entire thing in a web application, as a developer, you will be spending more time on an integration platform only instead of writing a business logic for your application, right? So in such case, as a web developer, I will be having an idea that is there any ready-made service which is available to write integration logic? Is there any ready-made services available? You will think in such a way, right? Is there any ready-made library which is having such kind of a logic? You will think in such a way, right? So before going to this library, let me make this integration logic complex so that you can understand why we required integration platform, right? Instead of writing in a web application, why we required a separate platform for integration. So assume that this is my client application where I'm getting some request. That request kept in a queue, right? Now, I will configure one component. Component name is a filter. What this filter will do, I have written some configurations. It will take this incoming request, right? Again, it will validate that incoming request. If it is validated against this or whatever the configuration I have done successfully, then only it will keep that request into the queue. Otherwise, from here itself, it will throw some exception, right? Assume that it is success. Then I have one more requirement. I want to change the format, incoming format. Assume that we are getting some format called X. I want to change that format into some Y. What is the configuration I can do? I can use one transformer. So don't concentrate on what is the component we are using. No, just I'm giving an overview. We are going to discuss about all these things in a later part. So right now I'm just giving a complexity, how the complexity will increase in the integration. So while integrating, I want transform. By using a transform component, I want to transform the incoming format like X into Y. So I will convert into Y format, and that Y format will be kept in a queue, right? Next, there is a SOAP application and there is a REST application, right? So if I want to consume a REST application, what is the component I need to configure? Just now we discussed, which can read this plain text, plain request, and convert it into REST related or SOAP related. What is that? Adapter. What type of adapter? If I'm connecting to SOAP application, SOAP adapter. If it is consuming REST application, REST adapter. So I introduced two more, filter and a transform. So like that, the complexity of the integration may increase based on the requirement, right? Let me give a live example for this. Till now we have seen filter, transformer, like that, right? Let me give one more. Here I have some e-commerce applications, Amazon application. If anyone saw my demo video old demo video, then you might have aware of this example which I'm giving right now. Flipkart. Shop close, right? Like that. So these are the three e-commerce applications which was exposing these services by using a REST web service as a REST API, SOAP API, and again it is also using a SOAP API, right? Now my client has given some requirement to develop one web application. What is his requirement? Whenever a user walk into his website, and if we type for any of the product detail, and if we click on a search button, right, the first requirement is you want to send this request concurrently to all the applications simultaneously. Concurrently means what? Simultaneously to all these applications. Concurrently. Okay. Next, second requirement is once you send a request, you will be getting some responses from the third party application, multiple responses, right? He want to concatenate all these responses together as a single response, right? And he see what type of responses we are going to get from the third party. REST means maybe JSON, SOAP means XML, again it's an XML. So different formats, right? Of course the format XML is fine, but inside that fields may be different, right? So he want to concatenate all these responses, and he want to display all. See, actually idea is what? He want to extract the product value from all the applications, and he want to display on his web application. That is the idea, right? So he want to concatenate all the responses together, and he want to get output from the middleware application, as a JSON format. So ultimately at the end of the application, he want the output in a JSON format. How he can achieve all this? Okay, assume that this is some middleware like Mule application which can write some integration logic. So whenever client sends a request, when you click on search button, this web application is integrating with my Mule application. And integrate means what? It is going to consume the service present in the Mule application. What is the service I am writing? According to the requirement, I'm getting some HTTP request. Assume that is a browser and it's an HTTP request. So in order to receive that HTTP request in my Mule application, I will configure one component called listener. What type of listener? What type of request I'm getting? HTTP. So HTTP listener, right? Now this HTTP listener will listen for the request and convert that into Mule related request. Okay, in the third session I'm going to talk about this entire flow again, entire Mule flow again, how it is converted and everything. So assume that as of now it's converted into Mule flow, right? Mule related request. Now What is the first requirement? Concurrently, you want to send the request to all. By using one component, we can do that. What is that? You can, you are using that component at your home also, which taking the signal at a time, one signal as an input, and whatever the devices you are connected to that particular device, it will be segregate that signal to all. What is that component?
Router.
Router. Here also we'll use the router. What type of router it is? It's a scatter gather router. That means what? It will scatter the request to all the applications. So here I will configure one component, one adapter, because it will take the plain request as an input and convert into REST related request and sends a request from here. So REST adapter. Again, I require SOAP adapter and again SOAP adapter, two SOAP adapters, which will take the plain request. Basically, this scatter gather request is responsible to take a copy of incoming request. To take a copy of incoming request. How many copies? 3 copies, because 3 applications I want to integrate with, right? So 3 copies, and the 3 copies will be read by these adapters, and that adapters are responsible to send a request to third-party applications. Okay, we first requirement is done. Concurrently send request to all. Then we are getting some responses back. My router only will gather all the responses. That's why we said scatter. We are scattering the request and gathering the response also. What type of responses I'm getting? Maybe JSON and 2 XML formats, right? Now, what is the second requirement? You want to concatenate. So in Mule, there is one more important, very important tool, important component called transformer, with the combination of data view expressions. In Mule, we use data view expression language, which is given by the MuleSoft only, right? In order to map, in order to write some transformation logic, with the combination of transformer and data view, it becomes very, very powerful too, right? So this is a transformer. In this transformer, we have 2 parts, which is separated by 3 hyphens. These 3 hyphens are called as a separator between header and a body. Whatever the body you write, it will be converted into the format what you specified in the header. Suppose if I specify as JSON, whatever the body you write, it will be converted into JSON. That is what I requirement. I just simply define as a JSON what will be converted into JSON. This transformer will take all these 3 outputs from the scatter gather as an input to the transformer. 3 different objects. So I can use one data view function like flatten. I will talk about this later. Flatten function, which is taking all these 3 different objects as an input argument. And what is the functionality of the flatten? It will concatenate all the 3 objects together. That is the second requirement. And that response will be converted into, that means the body, whatever concatenated, that will be given into JSON format. That JSON format will be given back to the client. Okay, at the end of the Mule application, what is the output, what is the body, that body will be given to the client. Client is the web application now. So that presentation layer, what color, what font, what is the size, what is the image to be used, all these things will be taken care by the presentation layer by the web developer. As an integration middleware, what I need to do? I need to integrate with the applications and write the transformation logic and give the output to my client, right? So I just shown simple complexity. There are more complex scenarios to write integration, right? So converting from one format to another format and mapping the data, many things we can do by using a data view expressions, right? So instead of writing this entire what do you call this middleware integration logic in the web application, he will outsource that logic to some third-party vendors like a Mule, right? So right now my HTTP request is traveling from one location to another location through some set of channels, components, right? Normally, if you want to travel from one location to another location, if you don't have a car or a bus, sorry, if you don't have a car or a bike, normally you will take a bus as a transit. Similarly, my HTTP request is also taking this bus-like structure as a transit to travel from one location to another location. So I am creating one mule service by using a bus framework. Right now, you know about a bus in an ESB. ESB, enterprise service. B means bus. It is using a bus framework, right? Then what is an ES? Yeah, what stands for ES?
Enterprise service.
Enterprise means what? Organization. See, organization means company. In a company, we have many applications, but for all applications, we have some common logic. Assume we have some common logic, some components to be configured in a common, like transaction, security, pooling, remoting, etc., etc. Right? So any service which is having such common logic and which is used at an enterprise level for different applications, such bus is nothing but an enterprise service bus. It's very meaningful. At an organization level, whatever the service I created by using a bus framework, it is used at a multiple applications level in an organization. That is nothing but an ESB. Can you please name some ESBs in the market? Yes. Can you please name some ESBs in the market?
Oracle
Yeah.
ESB.
Okay. Taken. Yeah. Not all ESBs. You need to know about your competitors as well, right? Apache Camel, Dell Boomi, Mule is one of the ESB, right? You forgot about a Mule, right? Mule is one of the ESB, but Mule is much more than that. We will discuss what are the Mule features in a further session. Just I want to give the ESB introduction today. Tomorrow we'll discuss about what is a Mule application, what is the hierarchy of a Mule application, what is an architecture of any point platform, right? And what is an orchestration. All these the concepts we are going to discuss in our tomorrow session, right? So first two sessions will be of a theoretical part in order to make you to understand how Mule works, what is the integration platform, first of all, where we stand in an organization. In order to understand about a Mule, what is the architecture, we'll spend some time on it. Without knowing that, if I straight away go and writing the application and developing the code, it doesn't work, right? So first two sessions will be theoretical, and I know people will be keep on coming and going out. So I want to finalize the batch by tomorrow's session, right? That's all from my end for today. Any questions, please ask.
Yes, every day 7:30, right?
That I will discuss. Once I stop the recording, I will discuss offline.
Okay. Sure.
If you're not having any queries, I will stop the recording. And one more thing, I'm going to use only this drawing board instead of PPTs. I will not use any PPTs apart from exception concept. Exception, we have a different kind of a scenarios. That's why I'm using a PPT for that, right? Apart from that, nowhere I'm going to use a PPT. Whatever I speak, it will be drawn in this way. Okay, then let me stop.